Okay. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Palen Music Center's virtual breakfast club number 7 for me. This one is a lesson demo lab. So hopefully you will walk away from this session with another idea or 4 that you can use with your kids. If you're running low on ideas, hopefully you'll be able to steal something from Andrew and Carrie and Lisa and Liz that will help you make it through this next month or so. Just quick check-in, like give me a thumb this is an Eric Matzak classic. Give me a thumb. How are you feeling this morning? Are you like, I'm awesome, I'm pretty down right now? Yeah, lots of thumbs up, some sideways, some 2/3. This is exhausting, isn't it? It's like mentally exhausting and draining, but hang in there. What you're doing for kids is amazing, and it's very, very important. So just remember that this will pass eventually. We don't know when. I'm also going to put my phone number in the chat. So if you don't know me, by the way, my name is Mike Steffen. I'm a Palen Music Center educational representative, and I used to be in the classroom, and now my goal is to just kind of connect other educators and help them out in any way I can. I'm going to put my cell phone in the chat box, and I think I have turned chat off for everybody else, except for being able to message me, I think. Yeah, so you're able to only message me, which will allow our speakers to kind of share their ideas without being distracted by that. So as you find any question popping into your mind, you can either feel free to text it to me at that number, or you can send it to me at the chat, and I will do my best to interject those questions and help them answer them as best we can to keep you guys moving this morning. So without any further ado, hopefully you've gone to the Kahoot page. I actually need to do that right now while we're talking, but hopefully you've gone to kahoot.it, kahoot.it. And Carrie, why don't you unmute and kind of walk us through what we're doing here today?
Hi, everybody. I'm not going to change the world at all by using Kahoot. I'm sure you all know what it is and how to use it, but I was just kind of blown away that the kids still really got into it when I used it for a video class. And I also learned a couple things lately that I just want to share a little bit. So Kahoot is basically a trivia game that you can play. I know most of us has probably done it in the classroom, but you can do it through video conferencing too, which is a lot of fun. The one thing that you have to be aware of is the kids either need to have 2 devices or be able to like split screens so that they can read the question and answer the question as well. So just in case you aren't familiar with Kahoot, you can create your own questions, or there's a ton of stuff that you can search and share. It's really nice because you can drag images, so you can have them answer questions off of images. For my case, that's what I do for AP Music Theory a lot. And then you can also upload YouTube links where they can watch a little bit and then answer questions after that. And then one of the things that I also did learn, let me share a different, is that there's a nice template that they have that you can type in all your questions for. You can use it with Excel, Google Docs, numbers, etc. But when you export, you just have to make sure it's in Excel, the XLSX format. So you type your question in, type in the answers, the distractors, set a time limit, tell it which number is correct, and then it's really slick just to upload all the questions. So that for me saved a lot of time doing that as well. You can also make, on the free version, there's true, false, and multiple choice questions. I'm going to go back to the other screen. But with some money, of course, you can do an open-ended question, a puzzle, a poll, or just add a slide in there for that. The other cool thing about this is you can assign it to be played by the kids individually. You can set a time limit on when they can sign up and play, or just play live. So got some people in here. It's a little 5-question part writing quiz, so I hope you're all ready with that music theory knowledge. And of course, music is great.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. All right, here we go. I better remember what that. All the inversions for the triads and seventh chords. It's like the figure bass numbers, basically. Six, 6, 4, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2, and my kids get a kick out of like memorizing it that way as a phone number. Good job. Ooh, and of course they've added some fun graphics for when people like go up and down. So if there's a sharp in the figured bass with no number next to it, it applies to the third above the bass. True or false? Very good. Ooh. The kids get into it, of course. So you gotta look at the last 3 there and tell me what notes should be in the bass part. It's in A major. The 2-6 is what usually got people there in the first inversion. Just 2 more questions. That darn slash means the same as a sharp. Why they do that, nobody knows. Welcome to music theory. That's what I tell my kids all the time, where stuff is the same, yet different. Last question, cadence. Now there are 2 correct answers because technically you can't see for sure. Yep. Since we couldn't tell if the tonic was in the soprano voice on the last chord, so 2 answers are. And then, of course, another great part. Oh. Hey, Jenny! I'll send you a prize.
Way to go, Jen A.
All right, let's see if I can. And then afterwards, you can, afterwards you can get, take a look and see what answers the kids got right or wrong and what you need to review. We've done it with key signatures and all kinds of things. That was just a short AP Music Theory one I had, so That's what I used. So
Fun.
works pretty well. I've not done it where they have to answer the questions on their own time, but I'm confident that the kids love Kahoot, as you all know. So
So Carrie, or folks that are here, what questions do you have? Who hasn't done a Kahoot and needs to ask Carrie for some tips, or not quite sure what to do with that info? Go ahead and unmute.
Hey, Carrie, I just want to know how you got to that sheet or the page where you could like type in all of the questions.
I found it when it said like import questions, but I think Mike's gonna send out a deal, and I put the link on that because that really saved a lot of time.
And if I may, it's kahoot.com where you can design all of them. Yeah, it's kahoot.it
Yep.
when you're playing it, kahoot.com when you're writing it.
Oh, that's very good to know. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Kahoot.com when you're writing it, kahoot.it when you're playing it. Okay.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, so links to Carrie's notes and how that was all done will be sent out when we're done. I'm going to put all 4 of their notes together on one Google Doc, and I will send you that link. I'll also send you the recording of this session, so you can feel free to pass on both of those to anyone you'd like who you think would benefit from this session this morning. So thanks, Carrie. That was fun. Okay, Andrew Gillespie, why don't you hop on next here, sir? And Carrie, you told us where you're from, right? I was kind of busy doing some other stuff when you were starting.
Oh, I'm up in the Staley feeder pattern. I help with band orchestra at Staley High School, Newmark Middle School, Gateway 6th Grade Center, and then AP Music Theory at
Cool.
Staley.
So Carrie's in the North Kansas City School District. Eve Borg had a quick question. Can you do this on the app as well, Carrie?
Can you play on the app? Yes, I have not actually. I know you can play on the app. I have not downloaded the app to see if you can create content on there.
Okay. Good question. Good question.
iPhone you can, but it's limited to the free version. So even if you have the upgraded version, you can create on the app, but it's only the free options.
Okay. Good stuff to know. Okay, Andrew, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you're sharing with us this morning?
Hello. Am I on? Yeah, I'm unmuted. First, I'd like to thank Mike and Palen Music for having me on. My name is Andrew Gillespie. I'm relatively new to the state, so probably almost none of you know me, but I'm excited to be in Missouri. I'm at Park Hill South High School as well as Walden Middle School with Katie Wagner. We kind of go back and forth, and I can talk about those logistics here in a second. And I'm in the Park Hill School District. So my lesson is not as fun as Kahoot, but I'll do my best. Present. Can everyone see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Okay. So when we kind of, first I was going to go some backgrounds just because I know some people ask, well, how and logistics. So in Park Hill, we're still doing grades for students. So all assignments apply to students' final grade. This lesson's more geared towards high school students, but it could be for both. But at the high school, we're on a split block. So we're only allowed to give our students lessons every other day. So some weeks we're developing 3 lessons, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or some weeks we're developing only 2 lessons, Tuesday, Thursday. We're required to use Schoology as our format. I'm sure everyone has some medium that they're using. The lesson that I'm going to talk about today is for 2 of our ensembles that meet at the same time, which I'm sure most of you have experienced with, if you ever try and do a marching band, you combine 2 of the groups to make it. And then we have 4 directors on the south side. There is Katie and I, who, because we have 2 feeder schools, Katie and I work at Walden Middle School half the day, and the other half the day we're at South. And then Charlie Boyd and Tony Hastick are at Lakeview Middle School for half the day, and then they're at South for half the day as well. The benefit to that is at the high school level, we really do have we are very grateful that we have a lot of resources, having 4 of us there. And then the big thing, which I know everyone really didn't get to have this experience, is our students were allowed to get their instruments out of the school after spring break. So this puts us in a really good spot, but I'll try and go through and kind of modify things at the end. So when we kind of dived into this, distance learning, kind of not really knowing what we were doing, the first thing we all talked, conferenced over spring break was, well, we might come back at then, we thought that point, and we develop or we drive everything that we do through concert music selection anyway. So let's just program our spring concert, get the music out. And we had the best of intentions with that, but then after a week of it, we just kind of all conferenced on Zoom and we're like, this is not working. So we were still going to assign stuff by ensemble. The primary focus was concert literature. And an example of like what I did for my kids that first week was, please record yourself doing the first 10 measures of Candide Suite and please play these 3 minor scales. And you could just tell that the kids in the videos were just like really, we're going to do this for how long? And so when we went back to the drawing board, we thought about, you know, that tuba player, even in Candide Suite, is just playing oompas all the time, or that horn player in the march is just playing offbeats, and it's not really a great experience for them. So we thought about getting more melodic content for them, and we really went to a more of a private lessons versus the concert music approach. Not to say that we do a individual lesson for every kid, but the content that we're giving them is something more appropriate for a private lesson. The website we've really been using is called auditionsolos.com. And to give you some background, I've kind of a hopscotch around the country, but a few years ago when I was teaching in South Carolina, and I actually had the neat perspective of, I was on the All-State committee at the time, the SCBDA got a letter from the publisher group saying, you're being sued because we know you're bringing copies to district and all-state auditions. So at that point, everyone just voted, hey, we're going to pay someone to write us etudes to get away from this giant lawsuit that we won't be able to afford. And I mean, to be frank, these etudes are not the most musical thing in the world, but they really do serve a purpose, and they are 1-minute snippet of, I'm going to throw these different technical things at you at this appropriate level. And it actually has really worked for us. They're all written by a professor named Brad Edwards. He's actually a trombone professor at Arizona State right now. He did have a lot of people vet them and kind of make sure they were appropriate. To understand the South Carolina all-state material, though, they do it a little differently. So they have a middle school level, a 9 through 10 level, and 11 through 12 level. So as we looked through all these etudes, we didn't want to overstress our kids and provide as much grace as possible. So within this massive marching band collective of kids, we said, if you're in our concert band, we're going to start you at the middle school level. And if you're in our symphonic band or top group, we're going to start you at the 9 through 10 level of these etudes. And I'll kind of speak to how that played out here in a moment. The way we implemented this, sorry, I got ahead of myself. We did that appropriate level. And then we looked at our structure, meaning our split block. So on Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays, kind of depending on the week, kids provide us a 30-second practice video. And that's literally all it is. We'll get a video, the kid will hit record, they'll wave, they'll say, I'm going to start in measure 15 today. And they play 30 seconds, they stop it, they send it to us. Then on Thursday or Friday, we ask them to send the entire etude as a test grade. So they'll start the video, they'll play for the full 60 seconds because that's the length of the etudes. They'll submit it. And then we switch the etude every week because when Brad Edwards wrote this, they kind of do a similar system as Missouri as to where they switch the etude every year. So I believe right now he has 6 within each cycle. The etudes themselves are free. I haven't explored anything beyond that, but he also went even further, and you can pay the website and you can get an accompaniment to each solo if a student wanted to play along with it. This is the rubric we've kind of used with this. Our syllabus kind of locked us into 50 points for playing tests. So honestly, the 30-second practice videos, it's just, did you turn it in, you get full credit. The tests, we've honestly have tried to stay within the superior excellent range. Good if they struggle a little bit, we'll kind of go in there and we kind of stay away from the bottom 2 just because all the kids are new to this. And we've just tried to show, once again, that grace as much as possible. We do modify it for percussionists. We've tried to stick to just snare stuff. And I didn't share that rubric, but pretty much it's mostly towards the style, interpretation, and rhythmic accuracy. Remediation, as far as how this is actually played out. So if a student overall does fine, in Schoology off to the right, there's a little box, and we just give them 2-3 sentences, and it's like, overall, well done. Hey, in measure 10, please don't rush. Keep up the good work. And then if you watch it and you're like, ooh, sometimes we kick it over to email, and I'll send them a paragraph that's like, hey, you're getting all the mechanics correct notes, correct rhythms. However, you keep breathing in the middle of the phrase. Please make sure that you're going over the bar line in this measure. Try and listen to this example of this kind of style. Here's a YouTube video. Thanks, Mr. Gillespie. And then a few times, the way we've kind of split this up, I kind of got ahead of myself. Katie and Tony, being double reed players, kind of cover all the woodwind videos. Charlie and I cover all the brass videos and percussion. And sometimes, I'll get a text message from Charlie. It's like, hey, have you seen Little Johnny's video for this week? And I reply, no. He's like, you need to go watch Little Johnny. And then I'll see Little Johnny has no clue where they are in the universe. And I'll send that email to Little Johnny. He's like, hey, we need to have a Zoom session. When are you free? And so I'll get Little Johnny on Zoom, and they're a little nervous at first, but I'm like, hey, get your horn out. All right, play through the first line. And then I'll be like, all right, let's turn on the metronome. Let's slow this way down. And we help clarify everything that we can via that medium. Sometimes even our like rock solid kids, it's like, you are a great trombone player, but you are tripletizing the crap out of your dotted 8/16. And we've done the same thing. It's like, hey, can you get on Zoom real quick, and I'm going to help you figure this out. So that's been a great resource. As far as results, modifications, I would say overall it's gone really well. We still have some students who either are submitting irregularly or a handful not at all, but I'm sure we're all seeing that. We have a few kids at the top end, some of our all-state kids, who just kind of look at it and are like, okay. And you can tell they're probably practicing it for maybe 10 minutes, recording it and submitting it. And I don't mean that's bad. I just mean like, they're like, okay, I can do this. But I would say it's kind of really hit that sweet spot where I've noticed, especially some of our sophomores and freshmen, who I've never really heard on an individual basis other than play a line for a playing test, really improving from week to week, and you can tell they're actually practicing. And so we've kind of decided as a band staff, it's like, you know what, as long as that core group of kids is really progressing through this, that's pretty much like all we can ask for. And we're trying to provide those remediations as much as we can for any of those kids that are kind of struggling with this process. As someone who taught at a small rural 2A school out in South Carolina, I know video is not always a thing. And laptops are not always a thing, but something I did out there was, I know kids at least could take a voice memo recording. So if you could have them record it on their phone and at least upload it somehow to you, either Dropbox via their phone, if they have data. I know sometimes that's even shaky. If you are only one person with like a group of 100 kids, maybe limiting it to a 2-week rotation to where they're sending you a practice video 1 week with that feedback, so you're not like killing yourself, and then the next week is the playing assignment, some kind of modification like that. And then once again, I would like to thank Mike and Palen Music and my team over at the south side of Park Hill, Charlie Boyd, Katie Wagner, Tony Hassick, and Charles Lovell. And then John Bell, for those of you who don't know him, up at Northwest, he kind of is like a godfather of Park Hill South. So from time to time, he'll show up and be like, hey, what are you doing? And let me listen. And hey, you really shouldn't be doing this. But I'd really like to thank him for him kind of keeping an eye on me, especially being new to the state. So that's it. Back to Mike, I guess.
Andrew, that's fantastic, man. Yeah, that's really cool to see how many modifications you've made for kids. And I love that you're bringing in a separate state's set of etudes. And that's helping us all grow because we're seeing what other states are doing. Very, very cool. John Bell said, did the state orchestra organization do the same type of material for all state orchestra? Do you know, Andrew, out in South Carolina?
I don't know, but I can get an answer to that.
Okay, very cool. I like that you lowered them a level, like you set the bar lower than you normally would, because this is so stressful on everybody that you're making it work, you know, that I think that that's really wonderful. And the statement about if you can just keep your core kids playing, if you can keep them growing, then the ensemble will come back and be fine. I mean, that's brilliant assessment of what is going on in this time. I think that everybody is worried about every kid, of course, but as far as when you return to so-called normal, I think trying to get those core kids moving forward is the big thing. So Andrew, thanks a lot for all those details. And can you send me that PowerPoint or the
Yeah.
Google Slides or whatever that was, so that I can put that in the notes?
Yeah.
Cool. And the lesson, no, I'm sorry, auditionsolos.com, that was the website, right? Auditionsolos.com.
Correct. Yeah.
That is where they can find the South Carolina audition material, or was that on a different site?
That is, well, it's the South Carolina Etudes and more, actually, because South Carolina, when they commissioned him, he kind of asked, like, hey, can I still have the rights to these? And then he made the rights free to everyone, essentially.
Oh, cool.
So the first four, one or AB, also provides like E and F, like on all instruments on all levels. And he actually plans to expand it. I haven't gone state by state, but I know off the top of my head, like Georgia does the same thing.
Cool.
If you go to GMEA, you can find all of their etudes that have been written for them that they've now released free to the public. And once again, they're not the greatest things in the world, but they are, here is something that is melodic in nature, that is written to this level, that gives you these key things to work on.
Yeah, very
so yeah.
So if they were wanting to find, I just want to make sure that I understand. If they were wanting to find the South Carolina etudes, they need to go to the South Carolina Bandmasters Association to find those, or will that be auditionsolos.com?
You could go, yeah, you could go to bandlink.com, which is what SB, I can't even say it anymore. SBDDA uses.
SCBDA?
BDA, yeah.
Okay.
But auditionsolos.com has those on there as well, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You'll find the exact same etudes on both sides.
Okay, perfect. That helps a lot. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Okay, Elizabeth Anderson, why don't you unmute and join us here? Liz is over in the Liberty School District, and I'll let her introduce herself to you and share what she's going to talk about this morning.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Liz Anderson, and I teach elementary orchestra at Liberty Public Schools with Rebecca Doss. And so I'm just going to share a little bit about what I have been doing to stay in touch with the kids and get them to get their instruments out and keep playing while we're learning virtually. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. So when I first sat down to think about, after spring break, what the heck we were going to do online, I had to kind of narrow it down to what is really the most important thing for me right now with what kids can do and what I can do virtually, teaching a beginning orchestra class, not being able to be there in person and help correct. And so what it boiled down to, and what I ultimately decided, that just keeping in contact with students and being supportive and keeping that connection going was the most important thing for me. And then orchestra and music is a great medium for that. So there's kind of two main things that I do with my students virtually to kind of keep them going, keep them playing. The first is we do have weekly orchestra Zoom meetings. I teach at 5 different buildings for beginning strings, and I just make one meeting for everybody. And I kind of Zoom bomb, and I'll have a meeting on a Tuesday or a Friday in the morning, in the afternoon. Because a lot of these kids, 5th grade teachers, also have meetings at random different times. So I'm just trying to get in and get contact with as many kids as possible when they're available. So that's been really nice for just the community aspect of getting the kids together to talk to each other. We can play, like Simon Says, we can play charades, we can play rhythm games through Zoom, which is nice. And then it's also a great time to give tuning help to these kids that really haven't needed to do it by themselves before. So that's been great. And then the main thing that I do to push content out to students is I have a weekly newsletter with orchestra activities for them to do throughout the week. And it's kind of like a choice board. I'll send out 4 activities that they can pick from. They can do at least one. And I have some students that consistently every week will do one activity, and then some students that'll do all 4. It just depends on the kid. They're able to kind of self-select, which is nice. So I use smore.com to make my newsletter to send out. All of the kids that I have, Liberty is fortunate that we do have a 1-to-1 school district, so all of the kids have apps that they can use. And recently, with the virtual learning, we've been given access to email the students directly at the elementary schools, so that's been really nice. But consistently, 2 of the activities that I have on that newsletter are a rhythm example that the students can do and a note reading practice site that they can use. And then the other 2 activities I pull from these different things like ear training, vocab, posture, position, listening samples, and then play along videos for their concert music. It's a little bittersweet because today was actually supposed to be our string explosion, the 5th grade through 12th grade like chase. So I'm kind of reflecting on that today and be like, oh. But anyway, I'll show you what the newsletter looks like, and Mike will have links to these if you want to peruse it and just kind of check it out on your own time as well. So smore.com is really nice because you can input all of your newsletter stuff and it makes it actually look nice. I am not super good with tech, and this is a lot more presentable than anything I would ever come up with on my own. So I usually start out with a little bit of a letter from myself to the orchestra, and I let them know when the Zoom meeting will be. And then, for example, this week, this is what we're doing. I have a YouTube video that I made where I teach the kids staccato and legato articulation, and then we use Morse code. I have a secret message that I play for them that they have to email me back and decipher it. And then for those kids that are looking for something extra to do and are excited about this kind of stuff, then they can also create their own video using Morse code, using those articulations, and email me back, and I have to decipher theirs. So that's been kind of fun. Then these next two activities are the ones that I have consistently on every newsletter. Some kids really like that they can, it's very predictable. They know what's going to happen. So I have some kids that will do these 2 every single week. The first is the rhythm of the week example that I have. And I just put together on Microsoft Word. I use the website noteflight.com to actually create the notation. And so kids, they don't have, they write down with pencil and paper, they copy the rhythm, they write in the counts underneath. And then from the very beginning of the year, I do rhythm actions with my students. So for example, quarter notes, they would tap on their chest, quarter rest, it's kind of like a shrug. 8th notes, they would clap, and half notes, they would pat and slide on their legs. So there's a specific action for each rhythm, and it's kind of a nice kinesthetic activity that gets the kids up and moving. When you have orchestra before school, sometimes that is a game changer. So they can do that. They can perform the rhythm 3 times. Again, those students that are really looking for more connection can video themselves doing it and send it to me. And I'll immediately write back and give them praise and tell them how much I miss them, and like, oh, that was awesome. It's good to see you. And then on these rhythms, I always include the answer at the bottom so that students can self-correct. I think that's really nice for a lot of them to be able to see right away whether they got it right. Back to the s'more. The second thing that is really consistent that I send out, I use musictheory.net, and they have the customizable exercises that are super, super nice. So for example, this week we're working on G-string note practice, and it's just a little 5-minute challenge that they can do. And I can limit it to the notes that I want them to be working on. So that is also really nice for younger students, and they can be more successful with that. So even though I'm not there walking them through it, they only have 4 options. So that is a nice way that you can kind of scaffold note reading for your students. And then lastly, with the play along videos, this is, my extent of YouTube creation is creating some little clips on QuickTime and stitching them together in iMovie and throwing it up. So that's been really nice. Like for our concert music, I'll make play-alongs that they can go back through and play along with. So S'more has been a really, really good medium for all of this. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from students and parents that they've enjoyed doing these. And at the end of every S'more, this has been really important for data. I include a Google form at the end that the kids fill out with their name, the activities that they've done. And then I always have a question like, hey, how are you doing? Or what's something that you've done this week that you're proud of? And that is a little bit more of the personal connection feedback that I think is really, really important right now to get. And so with the S'more, the two things that have been really helpful, all the files that I include on my newsletters, I just make into PDFs in a shared Google Drive with link sharing on. So then you can link it to the S'more and any kid can access it from the newsletter. And then the second thing is with the Google Forms, this is what's really nice about these. Let's see, let me get out of here. Within the Google form, if you go over to responses, you can actually go and view responses in Sheet, and it will pull all the data from your Google Forms and put it in a nice spreadsheet for you. So you can see which kids have responded, how many weeks have they been doing this for consistently, what school are they at, and it kind of organizes it all for you. So that's a really nice feature from Google Sheets that is all incorporated. And then the last little thing that we have at the newsletter that is new that Liberty is trying is we're gonna have a bingo night tonight. So we put an invite out to all of our orchestra families saying, hey, come play bingo with us, we miss you. And I think right now with all the social distancing and virtual learning, what a lot of kids are craving is being able to do things together because they miss their friends, they miss those connections. And so there's a really cool website. All of this is linked. Mike will send it to you. myfreebingocards.com. And so you can spend $10, get 100 customized bingo cards, and the website provides the number generator for you. So you can run a bingo game through Zoom, which can 100 people. So we sent this invite out. We've had over 200 kids sign up for it. So now we're gonna have to try to split it into a couple different sessions to get everybody. So we're gonna be trying that tonight. Just a couple things that, we really wanna get people involved in whatever way that we can. And so for me, then the S'more newsletter has been really helpful for that. And this bingo night is looking like it's gonna be really, really fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as a strings parent tonight.
Yeah.
My fifth grade bass player gets these newsletters from Liz's counterpart, Rebecca Doss, in the district, and we're having a good time doing these. I take her to, we did Staff Wars this week, which was like a little Star Wars version of musictheory.net, and she was having a good time with that. She's made some silly pictures of herself holding her bass with costumes on, and we're gonna do string bingo tonight. So all kinds of cool ideas. Liz, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you honing in on the fact that more than anything, the kids just need the connection. They need to see you care for them, and they need to see that you're interested in what's going on. And that's really crucial, as we all know. I mean, we're all feeling lonely in different ways, which is why we're all showing up to these things. Why I'm hosting them,
Yeah. One part of that I just want to add quickly here is what has surprised me the most are the responses to the Google Forms at the end of the newsletter, where you have that kind of question prompt.
Yeah.
Because kids, sometimes they won't share unless you ask. So that's been kind of a good feedback that I've gotten from some fifth graders that I've then been able to follow up on and get some good conversations going about mental health and all that. So
that's really wonderful.
It's important to ask.
And they're kids who you wouldn't have been able to have conversations with otherwise because you're just kind of rushing around trying to teach them before school. Yeah, that's really wonderful. Love it. Okay, thanks, Liz. We have Lisa Byland McMahon. Lisa is on from the St. Louis side of Missouri, and she is going to be sharing some fun things that she is doing with a new app that I know you're going to enjoy. And Carrie, are you ready to share the screen whenever? Okay, perfect. Thanks. Here you go, Lisa.
Well, hi, everybody. Thanks, Mike, for having me on. So I wish that I could offer something that is as content related and curricular and cerebral as what everybody else is adding today, which has been wonderful, but it's not. And Carrie's going to assist me here because I'm a tech moron and I have technical issues all the time. We tried to share this yesterday and it didn't quite work. So there's an app called Chicken Scream, and it's available for both iPhone and Android. It works better on an iPad, and it's voice activated. So basically it looks a lot like Angry Birds, in that you use your voice to either move a chicken or make a chicken jump. And I feel so ludicrous even saying these words out loud. But it actually works with instruments too. And I'm going to talk about why I think this has been beneficial for my kids. Carrie, if you don't mind, let's watch this completely ridiculous video. Do you guys have sound?
Carrie, can you unmute?
Minor detail.
I stole this from somebody else. This is not mine, by the way.
Welcome to Band Class. Today we're going to be checking out a app on the iPhone or Android called Chicken Scream. Yes, Chicken Scream, available for both Apple and Android products. This is a really fun game. It's very simple. All you have to do is really use sound to move a chicken. Basically, if you talk or you sing or you make a noise, the chicken will start to walk. And then if you scream or make a loud noise, it jumps. The goal is to get the chicken through an obstacle course, collecting points. Really simple. So, for example, ah. That's okay. That's the whole point of it, to see if you can get points. Now, there's a sensitivity bar at the bottom. If you raise it up, it's incredibly sensitive. If you put it towards the bottom, it's a little less sensitive. I would highly recommend you put it near the bottom, not all the way near the bottom, because this thing is very, very finicky. And if your phone is close to you, it can be really hard as well. So maybe stand back a little bit and enjoy this game. I am going to challenge you to see how far you can get using your instruments. Yes, your instruments like this. Nailed it. And you know, there's a ton of levels. As you can see, each of these has 25 different levels to it, and all ranging in difficulty.
So stupid.
It's not that hard, and it's actually really fun to play. I'm currently at level 10, so let's see what that one's about.
Long tones, baby, long tones. So stupid.
That's it for today, guys. Go ahead and check out that app. That is Chicken Scream, available for the Android and Apple. Bye, guys.
Hilarious.
So here's what I found. I saw this, of course, on the Facebook Band Directors Forum, and I contacted the person who posted it originally. That's his video, because I knew that I couldn't put together a video that explains it as well as that. And he, of course, gave me his blessing to distribute it and all that sort of stuff. It's great. So here's what I found when I gave it to my students. We post everything on Google Classroom right now, and we're kind of in a strange position where our student body, it's very much the haves and have-nots. And unfortunately, this situation is just widening that gap big time. So I've been trying to post things that are, some of them use instruments and some of them don't. But what I've found is that the kids that I know have instruments and are normally really good about practicing, they're turning in all of the stuff that is without. So what I found with Chicken Scream, when I put it on when I put it on our Google Classroom, I called it unlimited credit. So they, like everybody else, have to do some manner of a practice reflection or a log or something like that. And we know some of the kids are just filling them out just to get credit. We know that. So I offered Chicken Scream as an alternative to that. So for every Chicken Scream video, like video of themselves playing it or whatever, I would count that as a practice reflection. And I expected to get a lot. I haven't, but here's what I've noticed. This is an interesting statistic. A lot of kids email me to tell me how fun this is, but they're not submitting videos for it. What I am finding is there's about a 75% increase in the submission of their actual playing test videos. So what that tells me is they saw this assignment, thought, oh my God, that looks fun, and they got their instrument out, and then it's, well, since I already have this out, I might as well do something with it. So for me, that's a win-win. So even if they're not actually doing videos of themselves playing this completely ludicrous, ridiculous game, that gets their instrument out of the case, and then it's already out, and I might as well play and annoy the rest of my family. So that's kind of been the win for me. You know, and while it's not the most intelligent thing or content related, it is at the very, very least getting instruments out of the cases. And yeah, and it does work for percussion as well. I tested that myself. You do have to set the sensitivity bar rather high, but a roll will count as a long tone, and then a rim shot or something like that can count as a jump. I did it on my coffee table. I even did it on just my snare pad, and it worked just fine. So it will work for your percussionists as well. Does not work well if you're rolling on a mallet instrument. The chicken just sort of sits there and jumps sporadically up and down, and that's not really what you want. It was entertaining for the weekend, but not necessarily what you want there. So that's what I have for you all today. The completely ridiculous stolen lesson plan of Chicken Scream. I also teach middle school, by the way, so
Perfect.
It totally fits into who we are as people there.
Absolutely. Lisa, that is so funny. When she sent that to me, I was like, what is this? Oh
Did you download it? You downloaded it, didn't you?
Of course I did.
Oh, and it's free. It's a free app too. So.
Yeah, it's a free app. Something that I think Lisa's hitting on is that the kids are getting their instruments out of the case, right? Like,
yeah,
that's the challenge. I know that when I was in college, this brilliant idea was shared with me by my private teacher, Randy Ham at Missouri State. He said, dude, let me show you the hardest part of practicing. And he walks over to his closed case and he just opens it up. He's like, hardest part right there. Hardest part. So, you know, Lisa's hitting on that, and getting the kids to just get their instruments out of the cases will sometimes go farther than anything else. So thanks for that, Lisa. I love it.
Yeah.
So Stacy Lent, who's over in Olathe, had an idea. She was saying that on YouTube somewhere there is a video of two set violin. Is that what it says?
Yes. How many of you know two set violin? I don't know if you know. They're two Australian Asian violin players. They have hilarious videos. I'm trying to find it. I know they played something like this.
And there's a video of them doing that game,
yes.
Something similar?
Yes.
Okay. So that's your homework, everybody. Go to youtube.com, find two set violin playing Chicken Scream. I love it. So we're getting, God, this is like, what, week 4 or week 5 for this for a lot of you guys? 5, yeah. Seen Stacy up here from Georgia. Hi. Yeah, so this is exhausting. I know it is, and I know that you guys are continuing to come up with creative solutions. And please remember that the 4 people that presented today are in the same boat you are, in the sense that they're struggling, and then they're being challenged, and that they're finding success and finding anxiety and finding things that are driving them crazy. But all they're doing right now is sharing ideas, so that hopefully you'll be able to steal something and use it in your class. But don't feel pressure to do that. Don't feel pressure to be, to keep up with the Joneses and that kind of thing. Whatever you're doing with your kids right now is the right thing, So if you're doing silly stuff with them, if you're doing serious stuff with them, if you're doing a mixture of all that, games, newsletters, calling them, sending them videos of yourself, whatever, it's all good. They love you guys. Stacy, okay, so Stacy sent the link. Stacy, you should be able to send that to everybody now. I think I've unlocked it to where you can. Try that. Okay, so Stacy's going to send us all the link to that. So copy and paste that into your browser so you can use that another time. There it is. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and copy that for now. So what else do you have to share? I mean, we got a few more minutes left before we wrap things up. Joe Walker, I know you had some ideas you were wanting to talk about. Joe's down in Texas. Troy, I think you might have said you were going to share some things. Taylor, you might have said you were going to share some things. Joe, is there anything you want to share with us? Just another quick idea before we get out of here, or is there any questions people have before we wrap it up?
Well, I did an assignment, and I don't have anything prepared for today, but I told the kids, I sent them a recipe for making tacos, and and they were to make tacos and take a selfie of them making tacos and eating tacos with their family. They were then also to listen to La Fiesta Mexicana, and give me a paragraph written on, just give me an analysis on how that sounded. So a lot of great responses and a lot of great pictures from the kids. And the parents actually were the ones that emailed me and said, we need more assignments like this. This is great.
Oh, that's cool, man. Encouraging family interaction, encouraging some thought outside the box. That's really cool. Some synthesis of ideas. Very cool, Troy. If you guys don't know Troy Cronkite, he is at Glendale High School in the Springfield, Missouri area, and down in Southwest Missouri. He's been up in the Kansas City area as well, and is a Northwest Missouri State grad. So some of you I know are recognizing Troy and saying hi to him. Joe, was there something you wanted to share real quick before we got off here?
Yeah. We're doing a few different things, just like a couple things that we're just testing out and doing. First, I've seen this kind of pop up in a couple of different places, about like how we're doing, and I do high school bands, by the way, everyone, just so you know. We are getting like our leadership stuff like rolling right now. And a really awesome resource, Scott Lang has opened up all of his classes for free for everyone to use. So we're a Google school, and so like I just kind of created like in the classroom like an assignment and we did this with everyone that's just interested in leadership. Like, so they all filled out a form. Like I send it out through Remind. I cross post on like 3 different things. I have like a Google Classroom that has all of my students in it. I have Remind that has all of my students and all the parents and like everyone in it. And then there's, we actually also downloaded the Band app. So like we have those 3 different places that we're trying to like cross post as much as we can, like everything that we do. And then, so we had a form that everyone filled out. I put all of them into another leadership classroom, and then we kind of start scheduling things out through there. And so we're using that. I had our first class meet with them yesterday, and then we have one on Friday that we're going to go over like class 1. And then we're doing another one next Thursday or next Friday, I don't know, I think maybe next Friday that we're going to go over class 2. And then like the following Monday, we're going to have our show reveal. So we're just, like utilizing that, to get going with that. So I'll let you guys know kind of how that's working out after like, next week, whenever we start doing that. But then the other thing, and a lot of you may know my wife, Becky, she had an idea, like, so I'm like releasing a video. I'm doing one of those like, videos where like the kids are playing and it has all of the, like the screens, like kind of popping up. I will update you on that later. It is a lot of work. Everyone is like, they're not kidding whenever they say it's a lot of work. But they're doing the alma mater, and Becky was like, hey, why don't you have the kids like play like Pomp and Circumstance? Like, why don't we do this? And then, or I think that may have been like, I don't know this, but then Becky said, hey, why don't you email the staff and see who knows how to play an instrument? Why don't you have the staff members like record a video of themselves playing Pomp and Circumstance. It'd be like a gift for the
Super fun.
seniors. So that's like one thing that we're starting to like kick out. Is like we're going to email like all of the staff members in the school district. It's like, hey, who knows how to play an instrument? Like, who can, you know, like, it doesn't matter how good it is, but like, let's put together like a little video and because like I have a version of Pomp and Circumstance that's like a grade 1.5, you know. So it's very simple. So we're gonna start rolling that out. And I would just wanted to like, that's an idea that whenever Becky told me that is, I think, really, really cool. So like, you know, something that you can put together, even if it's just like 10 or 12 like staff members, because I mean, we all teach in like districts that there probably are quite a few people that can play their instruments still, like, or, you know, but like something easy to put together that's for the seniors, you know, just like let, you know, just, it's something that we can do for all the seniors. Like, hey, we still love you guys. You know, just, we're thinking about you still. Here's a gift from us. So here you go. So that's like, I think that one's going to work out really well. And whenever I get that one done, I'll definitely share that with all you guys and like, let you know. Hopefully we can have it done relatively soon, but you know, we'll let you guys know how that works. I think I'm really excited about that one.
Oh, that's a really neat idea, man. Guys, if you're thinking you don't know how to do the video editing, the audio editing to make that something like that happen, Tim Hendricks, who is at the Bentonville High School, at Bentonville High School in Northwest Arkansas, he did a session for us on Monday about this, and it was really, really well done. And he had a presentation like Andrew did, like a PowerPoint, and he took everybody through what was happening, and he showed how he lined up the audio, and he gave very, very specific tips. So if you are interested in that, I will go ahead and include the link to that video in the notes that I send out today. Okay, so hopefully that'll be something that you guys might be able to steal. And if you even if you don't end up doing it, it's very, very good professional development to help you understand how to do something like this in the future, how to take multiple audio video recordings and splice them. So, and anyway, so I think that's about all we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for attending. Just a reminder, the palenmusic.com is open to take care of your kids if they need anything. And we've got drop-off service at our Liberty location if they have repairs that they need to have done. We're just here to help you guys in any way we can. I'm going to send out notes and a link to the recording from today. And I'll also send out links for future sessions. We have one on Friday at the same time. It's going to be focused on recruiting and what's working and what's not working in the string classroom. So we're going to focus on that for Friday. And I'll send that link out with the notes. And then next week, there are 4 major sessions that we're going to be doing. They all start at 9 a.m. You should have seen that probably on the Palen Music Facebook page yesterday, or you've seen it shared. Anyway, there's some great sessions, and it's going to end with Steve Davis and Jerry Junkin doing a Ask the Conductors session. So that's going to be very cool. So check out my Facebook page or palenmusic.com or Palen Music's Facebook page to do that. So thanks again to Andrew, Carrie, Liz, Lisa. Really appreciate your time and expertise this morning, guys. You're wonderful. Take care, everybody.